Okay, this is me recapping the compression lesson using the compression plugin. Briefly, compression is used when to sort of twine up any dynamics. If a vocalist is sort of quiet in some parts and loud in another, which always happens. Same with the guitarist is quiet or drummer. We can use the compression to heighten the volume of the quieter parts, while keeping a cap on the loud parts. So maybe you could look at it as maybe a guy with a fader, turning the fader up for the quiet parts, but then bringing it back down to a certain level for the loud parts. So it doesn't sort of mean the loud parts aren't too loud, and that's why it's called compression. Really, it's bringing up the lower while bringing down the higher. Another analogy I've heard is the whack-a-mole, where maybe like the volume is the moles with come out of the machine, you know, the arcade machine, and when the volume reaches a certain sort of threshold, the compression whacks that volume back down. I don't know why, I've always remembered that analogy. I quite like it. So we've got two channels here. We've got two exactly the same clips of vocal, only I've turned the volume up on the one track, and I've also put in the compression on this same track, so we can see exactly what the compression is doing, how it works. So I'll just show you. I'll play this little bit.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
Obviously you can hear that the second one is just a little bit louder. So we'll go through a couple of the compressions buttons. First off, the limiter is sort of like a different entity. So we won't look at the limiter as yet. I'll do that maybe in another lesson when we'll do a lesson on mastering, where we use the limiter maybe. But we'll go straight to the compressor threshold. The threshold is a decibel level in which the compression comes into action. So this actually alters the point at which the compression starts working. You put it really, really low, and the compression will
Life goes by so fast.
start working.
Life goes by so fast.
Straight away.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so
And you can hear that's really heavily compressed now, because you can hear that it's very quiet, the vocal is.
Life goes by so
Compared to the first one, it's quiet.
Life goes by so fast.
You know, if we was to bring this threshold up,
life goes by so fast.
so that's the threshold. The attack is how fast this compression takes to start working. It needs to be quite fast because this is a vocal track, but think of it as how quick maybe the hammer comes down to whack that mole, or not. But you know, that's the attack. Release is exactly the same. Is the amount of times in milliseconds it releases that signal and lets it go back to its original place. The gain, again, is the overall fader for the output of the compressor. And what that does is, if you turn the gain down, when you bring it up, it's actually bringing that whole signal up with it. So the lower dynamic is getting pushed up, the volume is getting pushed up, and I'll show a little bit more on that now, and then you see a little bit more clearly. The ratio is how much the compression will affect the volume. That's exactly how much compression is that's heavily compressed. That's more like the limiter. But as we go sort of back down, you know, that's a very, very gradual ratio, which will take. I'll show you.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
See the gain reduction at the top changing.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
That's the gain reduction actually shows us exactly how much the compression is working. So we'll put this around about here. We'll knock this up to -10. I think that's quite nice. The limit does not enough. The peak is the different ways the compressor is identifies when the amplitude is being crossed. The peak actually measures the signal peak. So it's immediate. You know, the amplitude of the audio signal is immediate. As soon as that sort of like, I mean, the sound wave, the transient gets to this point of a -10 decibel, it kicks in. But the RMS standing for root mean square, takes the average amplitude that goes over, so it's not so immediate, but gives the impression more of the vintage sounding compression units. That's how they used to work. The peak is a little bit more modern, and although what I've used normally, that is exactly what I use. Auto gain, as sad as I am, I've actually been on forums discussing auto gains, a little bit of insight into how boring I am, but no one seems to have any use for this auto gain. Because let me just show you. I put on 0 decibel, and you see this gain go up ridiculously. So that and if I was to do that when that track was actually playing, which I have done, will take my eardrums out completely. Circuit type, again. Have a little sort of look up. These are just sort of like, it's like having a different every amplifier, guitar amplifier is different. Every microphone is different because the wiring is different. And this is what they do. They're actually sort of copying different circuit types. And I think is that it. Oh, the knee. Sorry, the knee. The knee. If you just have a look at this region here. And when I change the knee, the knee is actually how abrupt the compression will turn the volume down. So harsh knee there is very abrupt. And if I give it a softer knee, what it's actually doing is smoothing out the air. So just before this the compression wants to start working, it actually starts working before it reaches there and smooths around. So it kind of hides the fact that you're compressing. Can do if you use it subtly. Excuse me. The sidechain we'll do in the other lesson. So what I've actually done is I've put 2 different meter level meters on the 2 tracks. Now this is our audio 2, which is the compression on there, and this is our audio 1. And if I just play this,
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
now you'll notice the meter readings are quite the same. If you just have a little look,
Life goes by so
comes
fast.
up to about -10 decibels,
Life goes by so fast.
and that's actually lower, just about lower in the meter reading, but it sounds higher. That's because it's pulled everything up. It's actually peaking. Audio 1 is actually peaking around about -10, but what the audio 2 is doing is bringing everything up to -10. Watch how it moves. Watch how the dynamic moves.
Life goes by so fast.
Up and down a bit. This
Life goes by so fast.
is pretty constant. Up at -10.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
So much so that on the second one you can actually hear the breath, the sharp intake of breath, because that has been dragged up. The gain, when we change the gain we hear, that has actually dragged the breath up, so you can actually hear the breath.
Life goes by so fast. 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 Life goes by so fast.
You notice that this is being capped smack on sort of -10 here, -10 decibels.
Life goes by so fast. Life goes by so fast.
And that's exactly where the meter is reading it.
Life goes by so fast.
And that is basically what our compression does.
Life goes by
Turn
so
up the volume a lot.
fast.
So
Life goes by so fast.
notice everything is very loud when I turn that up, but it's still capped at -10.
Life goes by so fast. Life
It's
goes
getting
by
that
so
happy medium then.
fast. Life goes by so fast.
It's getting that happy
Life
medium
goes
then
by so
of
fast.
what you want exactly.
Life goes by so fast. 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 Life goes by so fast.
There.
Life goes
I think
by so
that's quite nice now.
fast. Life goes by so fast.
And there we have it. That's how compression. This can be done on drums. Like I said, on drums when the drummer's dynamic is is a little bit wayward sometimes, and you need to hear them quiet bits, you know. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you. We'll the next lesson, part of the lesson, will be side chaining. I'll show you a little another sort of effect the compressor can be used for. I thank you.